Let's get to business news now with Jonathan Mitchell, who is our man this week. Excuse me, Jonathan, beaming in from Wellington. Another big bank highlights the squeeze on margins. We had a couple last week that Nona talked about. Interesting, the squeeze on margins. The profit's still a fairly healthy one though, right?
Good evening, John. Yes, we're talking about the New Zealand arm of Westpac here. That profit was down just 3% in the half year ended March to just under $200 million. Like the others, BNZ, ANZ, Westpac also noting that competition to attract customer deposits as well as those higher overseas funding costs. So that growth in lending did outpace deposits, something the other banks have talked about. So Westpac's margins were squeezed down to under 2%. It did see an improvement, though, in its bad debt levels, and it noted the dairy sector, and that's something the other banks have talked about as well. But looking ahead, those mortgage rates, something that people are interested in, don't expect a sudden spike in mortgage rates over the course of the next few months. Expect a more gradual pickup. But now's the time to have deposits in the bank, John. Certainly the banks are fighting for your money, and watch those rates.
Yeah, thank you. A timely reminder to check homes are insured at the correct value. What's all of this about, Jonathan?
This follows a report by Treasury, which has found that up to 85% of New Zealand homes could be underinsured by up to 30%. The onus in a lot of cases now is on the homeowner to indicate the value of their property. That's the so-called sum insured, and that replaces the total replacement cover. So some people might not be aware of that, so they're not increasing that sum insured at the rate that building costs are going up. So the worst case scenario is that a home gets destroyed by fire or an earthquake, and that sum insured is not enough to meet the real building costs. So the solution that the industry is talking about, check with your insurance company on a yearly basis, check your sum insured is at the right level and that you have an appropriate level of cover.
Thanks, Jonathan. What happened on the markets today?
Well, the euro did make some quite solid gains after that French presidential election. They like Emmanuel Macron's pro-EU and business stance. Back here in New Zealand, the top 50 index also had a solid rise, up 61 points to finish the day at 7,426. And the dollar is trading at 69.2 US cents and 93.4 Australian. John.
Thank you, Jonathan Mitchell, who's doing business from Wellington.